Alright, what is going on, everyone? Today we're basically going to be reacting to the feds revealing their star witness, and basically Young Miami basically starts to panic, and apparently they put her under witness protection or something like that. But overall, this Diddy trial is absolutely insane. There's a lot being exposed. Not only is there a lot being exposed, but there's a lot of people, a lot of celebrities being exposed as well, you know what I mean? And Young Miami is one of them. And apparently 50 Cent's baby mother as well was a part of these freak-offs. And the way she was describing herself during these freak-offs, you would have thought she was a legend, bro. She was saying she's like the LeBron James, the Michael Jordan when it comes to these freak-offs, you know what I mean? She's a professional. But overall, I'm not going to do too much talking. Let's just dive into the video and see what it's talking about.
Courtroom as Cassie was testifying. So let me tell you guys everything that you didn't see or may have not heard, because it's a lot. I will say the most damning part of her testimony for me is when she describes a freak off where Diddy and another man in court are standing on top of her while she is laying on the floor high off of and they are urinating on her face to the point where she is on their face. And to further give context, on the right-hand side of the court, seated, is her husband, Alex Fine.
No videos were shown today. Instead, jurors were handed personal screens so that they could privately see images taken from what Cassie called freak-off videos. Cassie had a binder on the stand with her, and she was going through images identifying people in them. Cassie was listing the names of the male escorts, and in some of the images, she said it was herself with baby oil on her.
So when it comes to Diddy, why do you think that you are so heavily involved in everything? Like everything that comes out about him, like you said, it's automatically, well, what you think? Well, how you feel? What you got to say?
Because y'all, this stuff just flipped the entire Diddy case upside down, because after weeks of secrecy and pure speculation, the feds have finally let the cat out of the bag. And guess who's stepping up as prosecution's star witness? Gina freaking Huynh. And y'all, this isn't just courtroom drama, this is personal. With her messy past with Diddy and the long-standing beef with Miss Young Miami, this right here is giving revenge, it's giving karma, and it might just be the final nail in Diddy's coffin. Miss Young Miami is already panicking, and honestly, we don't blame her. There's a lot to unpack here, so grab your popcorn, cause listen, act up, you could get smacked up. Carisha, please.
The defense acknowledged that the videos of alleged freak-offs will be shown, but that those videos, they said, didn't come from the government's investigation so much as it came directly from Cassie's phone. But they were essentially trying to raise doubt about why did she hold on to these videos, and again making this argument that this case is about love and infidelity and money. But the prosecution is saying, no, you will hear from witnesses that will tell you that they were kicked, they were punched, they were coerced to taking to performing sex. So this is only the beginning.
But before we unveil Gina Huynh as the star witness and why this has Young Miami spiraling, let's pause for a second and recap what went down on day one of the trial. Because the word coming from inside the courts is that these testimonies are being relived and have everybody's heart in their stomach. At this point, there's really no way Diddy walks out of this without facing some real prison time. Going by the reports reaching my desk, this trial is turning into one of the wildest federal cases we've ever seen, and things are getting really intense. But as you already know, the federal trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs is currently underway in Manhattan under tight security and high-profile witness lists. That courtroom is locked down tighter than Fort Knox. Reporters are literally scrambling for scraps, and the public left guessing who else is set to testify. Tangible information started to trickle in on May 13, 2025, when singer and Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, the woman we all thought had walked away from the chaos years ago, took the stand. Now, first of all, Cassie walked into that courtroom completely and visibly big pregnant. Her belly is full and round like she was ready to pop any second, which is going to be translated as a bold statement of resilience, and we're about to dive into just how powerful that moment really is. So Miss Ventura took the stand, and let's just say that her first day in court was nothing short of chilling. She dropped her harrowing testimony of how Diddy allegedly controlled every part of her life for years. She detailed years of alleged including violent outbursts and emotional manipulation and infamous freak-offs, where she says she was forced into disturbing explicit acts while Diddy watched. It was brutal. The courtroom felt silent as you could feel the weight of her words.
Ventura and Combs reportedly dated from 2007 to 2018, with her sharing after their romance that he was frequently towards the end of their relationship.
But she didn't just talk about the Cassie painted a picture of a man who allegedly used his money, power, and fame to manipulate it and break people, emotionally and physically. She talked about how he allegedly beat her in hotels, smashed phones, controlled her career, and then used as a means of power. It's the kind of testimony that makes headlines, yes, but it's also making a jury listen. And as you could expect, the prosecution were locked in on painting a haunting picture of life with Diddy, and Cassie reportedly broke down in tears on the witness stand as disturbing footage was played. The whole world witnessed in shock the infamous 2016 hotel video that CNN leaked. The word is that that was nothing compared to the even more disturbing footage that were played in court, and Diddy already knew he was done. And even though the defense tried to soften the blow, calling it inhumane but not criminal, it didn't erase what the world saw. A powerful man beating the woman who once loved him.
Next, on the right-hand side of the court, seated is her husband, Alex Fine. On the left-hand side, Diddy's 6 out of 7 kids are sitting in the courtroom as Cassie is describing having weekly freak-offs for years. That would last 2, 3, one lasted up to 4 days. She talked about damaging hotel rooms so bad in one instance that they had to pay such a hefty fee because the hotel told them that they needed to completely redecorate the room after a freak-off.
Y'all, things have apparently been so heavy in there that the jurors have to constantly be warned to remain fair and impartial. But the room was so thick with tension, with the weight of the words and the video footage that's being shown. When prosecutors labeled Cassie their key witness, they came hard, especially on the beatings, abuse, and coercion. They claimed she wasn't the only one. There are others, they said, who were punched, kicked, manipulated, and forced into these acts, all a part of a pattern that happened for years.
She was going through images, identifying people in them. Cassie was listing the names of the male escorts, and in some of the images, she said it was herself with baby oil on her, and reporters say that one female juror rested her hand over her chest. Also say that a male juror quickly averted his eyes, and another wrote notes while clearly shaken. Prosecutor Emily Johnson then shifted the focus to when this began.
The defense, on the other hand, tried flipping the script, arguing that the case was about love, infidelity, and money, not trafficking. They even questioned why Cassie had held on to some of the explicit videos being used as evidence, attempting to cast doubt on her motives. Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, showed up in a show of support, but was quickly asked to leave the courtroom once the 2018 rape allegations were mentioned, since he might be called as a witness himself. And this, y'all, this is just the beginning. Not to forget, Cassie's expected to stay on the stand for up to 3 days, and it's explosive.
For those who like to stupidly comment, well, why didn't she leave? She said she didn't have the resources and she didn't feel safe to do so. In her own words, I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to guns, and the threats that he made prior to that.
But moving on, so the trial is moving very fast and the energy is tense, and Diddy's legal team is trying hard to shut it all down. The testimonies are stacking and they're not looking good for him. And with more witnesses expected to come forward, the walls are closing in fast. But speaking of more witnesses, the prosecution has been real secretive about who else is on this witness list. Word around the courtroom is that there were more women lined up to take the stand, and it's very apparent by now, especially with Diddy, this is just the beginning. And now word on the streets is that Gina Huynh is the prosecution's other star witness. Everything just hit a whole new level of messy. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be the final nail in the coffin because what she knows is probably way too much. And we already know that the history between her, Diddy, and Young Miami isn't the best. But seriously, if Gina does take the stand and all the dirt she's been holding on to comes out in court, Young Miami's whole world might just flip upside down. So let's talk about Miss Gina Huynh, the woman who's now rumored to be the prosecution's star witness, and why her stepping into that courtroom could blow this whole thing sky high. See, Gina isn't just an old flame of Diddy's, no. Diddy had a whole lineup of women, but quite a few stood out, and Gina is one of them that did. She's been in the picture for years. Word is they met back in the 2010s during one of Diddy's wild party errors, and Gina stuck around longer than most because it's said that she went official in 2015. What a patient fling. She wasn't just another fling though. She was the girl he kept close even while publicly entertaining other women, even while publicly denying relationship claims. Gina was always somewhere in the dark, loyal and patient. Gina and Diddy were on and off for years. Her name would disappear for a minute, but then bam, she'd be spotted boarding private jets, flexing Chanel bags, and casually being soft launched into Diddy's background like a certified ghost of girlfriends past. But word in the streets is that Gina stayed real long because Diddy greased her real good, so to speak. Staying behind the scenes was a very small price to pay when she was always being flued out, popping up in his stories every once in a while, and even allegedly living a full-time soft life of the bad boy budget. Now, in case you're wondering why Young Miami feels defeated right now, I'll explain. Heads up. When it comes to Diddy's love life, it's not a triangle, it's a messy web. Also, super important to note that before social media went up in flames over the steamy kiss between Gina Huynh and Diddy, Young Miami was already deep in the picture. She had been publicly linked to Diddy, making waves with her very flirty interviews and luxury vacations and red carpet appearances. But let's not pretend it was all hearts and roses. They were vocal about being in an open relationship. Diddy even described it as dating but single, whatever that means. But now that I think about it, that was kind of bold coming from a man whose roster had been more depth than an NBA team. But guess what, y'all? In that 2015, when Diddy hard launched Gina, the timing was sus, because that would mean that Gina's thing with Diddy was overlapping with his long-term relationship with Cassie. The same Cassie who told the court Diddy was two-timing her with the late Kim Porter. Sis even said they all knew about each other and were basically sharing Diddy like a community boyfriend with billionaire benefits. Let's just say when the money is moneying, folks suddenly get real comfortable sharing zip codes, skincare routines, and apparently men. But anyways, things were fairly low-key between Gina and Diddy until May 2022. That's when Gina decided to break the internet by posting a picture of Diddy planting a kiss on her cheek. Mind you, this was right in the middle of his "we're single but dating" saga with Young Miami. The timing, again, not a coincidence. The intention, pure chaos. When I tell you that social media caught the fire, this one post was like pressing the red button on a nuclear bomb labeled messy, and fans were confused. Blogs were scrambling, and Young Miami, of course, she went off. She jumped on Twitter and said, "Somebody please give this beast some attention," which is code for "don't play me over this man." And just like that, the beef between Gina and Miami officially hit main character mode. It was no longer cold shade and low-key flexes. This was a full-on Instagram versus Twitter warfare. Let's just say Young Miami didn't find it easy either, because Gina fired back so bad she should have just stuck with dating but single, like Diddy had labeled their entanglement. But anyways, when your man's side piece has Wi-Fi and time, it's already too late. From that moment on, Gina and Miami treated each other like digital punching bags. They took shots via subs, stories, and every platform with the share button. The whole thing reached another level of petty in December 2022 when news dropped that Diddy had welcomed another child with another woman. Gina wasted zero time. She posted a video mocking Miami, saying, "When she beefing with you over a ninja the whole time he got somebody else pregnant. City girls down 1,000. Y'all, she didn't just throw shade, she brought the whole forest with her. Miami, of course, came back swinging with a series of tweets laced with insults, reminding everyone that while Diddy was for everybody, she was the one catching flights, grabbing gifts, and holding down front row seats. Still, no amount of Birkin bags could undo the fact that someone else was pushing his baby in a stroller. But there's where it gets even messier. Despite the drama, Diddy kept them both around, and they stayed, including Dana Tran, who had just had Diddy's baby in 2022. The entire time, Gina would post and delete, and Miami would tweet and subtweet, and Diddy was out here enjoying his clowns and a circus that he created. Now, fast forward to today, and Gina being rumored as the prosecution's star witness in Diddy's federal case. Y'all, that's not just a bombshell, that's a nuclear detonation, because Gina isn't just a girl who used to date him. She's someone who knows things, a lot of things. We're talking about a woman who's been around him longer than Miami and after Cassie. And that means she's allegedly saw the transition from one era of Diddy to the next. And she knows how that machine runs and who was involved and where the bodies, figuratively speaking, were buried. And if Cassie lit that match, Gina's walking in with a full can of gasoline and a flamethrower. Not to mention that right after they broke up, as standard procedure, Gina started blasting Diddy for being a and occasionally comparing her to Cassie. It's also being speculated that Diddy allegedly put hands on her and made her terminate 2 pregnancies. All I can say is that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and insiders claim Gina kept receipts. Not just texts and photos, but real behind-the-scenes intel. But what happened at all these infamous parties? Which celebs came and went? Who was getting paid to stay silent? And how much Young Miami really knew? And if she starts talking under oath, no NDA in the world can save Diddy from that level of exposure. But as for Young Miami, she's reportedly shooketh. And who wouldn't be? Imagine beefing with a girl over a man only for the girl to get the last word in a courtroom, backed by federal agents. It's not just embarrassing, it's career altering. Because if Gina starts name dropping and she tells the jury about everything she saw, from overlapping relationships to secret payments and backdoor deals, it won't just affect Diddy. Miami's whole image, her connection to the drama, and the perks she once flexed could all come crashing down. Y'all, we can't out-tweet the testimony. The feds don't care about followers, sis. So yeah, this isn't just tea, this is an entire boiling pot. And Gina Huynh stepping into that court isn't about clout or revenge, it's about a reckoning. It's years of being overlooked, disrespected, and called pressed, now turning into power. And best believe if she gets on that stand and spills what she's holding on to, Diddy's legacy cooked, Miami's public image shook, and the culture forever changed. There could be hope for Diddy though, because it's been said that 3, who's speculated to be Gina, has had cold feet from the onset, even though the prosecution has tried to convince her to testify. But last week, 3 changed their mind. We think it's Gina Huynh, and they said that they would likely testify and use their real name, and now this week they may not even testify at all. Isn't that odd? They are not responding back to the judge after just 2 days ago, stating that they wanted to testify. Now that the info got out, all of a sudden they don't want to testify. So this should be very interesting. Well, whoever victim 3 is, their testimony or lack thereof has a super strong sway and the outcome of Diddy's case, now that the prosecution has already fronted them out as a star witness. So now what? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But are y'all still with me? Because y'all, this was a roller coaster, from overlapping situationships to public beefs and now court testimonies that could blow this whole thing wide open. The story is wow. We are literally watching history unfold. And the craziest part, we're not at the peak yet. But I gotta hear from y'all though. Do you think that Gina is about to be the secret weapon to take Diddy down? Or is she just playing her cards for the clout? And what about Miss Young Miami City Girl? Is she gonna ride or die with Diddy till the wheels fall off, or is she low-key plotting her exit while the block's hot? Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and thanks for sticking with me to the end, because y'all some real ones, and trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. We're just scratching the barrel, and when it comes to this Diddy case, there's a more scoop and more drama every day. So stay locked in, hit that follow button, and grab your popcorn, because we got court updates on the way, and it's about to get messy. Catch you in the next one.
But yeah, that seems to be the end of the video. Let me know what y'all thought about this whole situation, man. This is absolutely crazy. Seems like 50 Cent's baby mother is a big part, or was a big part, of these freak-offs, Diddy's freak-offs, which is absolutely insane, bro. I guess now we can completely understand why 50 Cent, you know, dissed his baby mom so much, right? It's crazy, bro. But we all know Young Miami was a part of this too. Pretty sure she came out, or not even, I don't even know what it was. I'm pretty sure she did an interview, and she basically came out and said how much she liked being like urined on, which is crazy, bro. Like, she actually came out and said she likes being urined on. That's crazy, man. So I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really think these females are really like victims, bro, because they were willingly doing it, you know what I mean? Like, even Cassie said she stayed because she didn't want to be replaced, I'm pretty sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she was afraid that Diddy would find someone else to basically replace her, you know what I mean? So I don't know what it was, bro. I don't really think that these females are victims. I'm pretty sure that they like this stuff and the money just came with it, you know what I mean? The money was just a bonus, you know what I mean? Because the way Gina was describing herself when it came to these freak offs in court, bro. She was basically, I'm pretty sure she was comparing herself to like what, the LeBron James of the NBA when it comes to these freak offs, the Michael Jordan when it comes to these freak offs, bro. Like, she was a demon. She was on demon time. She was 100% ready for Diddy. You know what I mean? Like, but let me know what y'all think, man. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion still. Let me know what y'all thought about this whole situation. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe for a lot more content just like this. And without further ado, peace out.